LSU's latest commitment, De'Myrion Johson, is one of the more powerful players you'll find in the class of 2024. The defensive tackle out of Westgate High School in New Iberia, Louisiana, is also a player that fits the mold of old school LSU defensive linemen. Power. We're going to talk a little bit about his game today, what he needs to improve on, and why he helps LSU's recruiting class overall right here. Let's talk about the measurements first. He's 275, 280, give or take, during his junior year. He's a kid that's going to be able to carry 300 pounds if he wants to. Further, he's a kid that has also played defensive end, defensive tackle, and nose guard. Having that experience is going to help him make the transition to the SEC West. Finally, he is pure power. There is no doubt about it. This kid gets downhill right now, and it's not any messing around. He uses the same move over and over again, a two-arm, straight-ahead bull rush, or two-arm stab, if you want to call it that. That is his mainstay, and it works for him. Even if he slants, he'll use the guy and move him to the side, and he goes forward. That's just what he does. Therefore, there's a lot of raw and untapped potential there, but you'll see that on the film as I share my screen. Here's the thing I like about him long-term, though. Big guys like that don't always play, quote unquote, real hard. He does. When you have that situation and a kid gets after it, play after play, that's when it really matters. This kid does that over and over. And I really believe that you're going to see a kid that gets better with time. He's also a very jubilant young man, as you can tell by the film here, making the play down near the goal line. The other aspect of it, once he learns technique, he will be a much better player on third and long or any other obvious passing situation. He doesn't really use swim moves and two-hand swipe, rips, things like that. He is a pure bull rush guy right now, but he's so athletic for his size. Johson gets away with it. But that's also a good sign. If you're not even close to finishing out as what you can do in terms of technique, but look at that. I mean, he just walked the offensive lineman into the backfield and made it a tackle for loss. If you can do that against Louisiana high school prospects, you're a pretty good guy. I mean, he just killed that kid. You're a pretty good guy to look at from a long-term perspective and figure, well, once LSU's coaching staff gets a hold of Johson, look out. I don't think I'd want to be in front of him too often. That's for sure. The other thing that I'm curious about, how will LSU utilize him as it relates to positions? Are they going to play more at nose, D-tackle? Are they going to focus him just at one or the other, perhaps both? You can see here Johnson's playing three, and he eats up the guard. If he has a lane in a one-gap situation to shoot, he's pretty quick, despite his size. Right there, poor communication between the two players for the opposite team, and Johson took advantage. And then on this play, this is a good example of him just standing the guy up, moving him out of the way, and just engulfing the running back. That is the definition of what a two-gap guy could do. And if LSU used any three-man line, you could see Johson being a defensive end or a nose guard in that scheme. Perhaps LSU will use a little bit of it as a mix-up, and he would be fine in it. There's a good example of his hustle, getting to the perimeter. Power once again. And then just moves the guy out of the way. It's really impressive. All right. We get the idea. He's a heck of a prospect. What does LSU need, though? This is why he's important. You can never have enough defensive linemen. That's just, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because there's so many guys that come into college football that talk, well, in a couple of years he'll have the size and all that. Johson already has it. De'Myrion Johson is a monster in terms of the way he's built at the hip, his lower legs, all the way up to his shoulders. He is a thick-bodied kid. He is also athletic. You look at him and you think, well, he's probably just a nose. He's not. He can play three tech. If you're going up against Auburn with what they're going to do with their RPO game under Hugh Freeze, if you're going up against Alabama, which that's self-explanatory, and against Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's, he always does well with the run game. You need guys that can really stuff the run. LSU traditionally has that, but right now I don't think they're quite to where they need to be. Adding guys like this to the rotation that you can just bring in and out of the lineup, that's what LSU is famous for. If you don't have them, you're not going to consistently beat Auburn, Alabama, A&M's another one, even Arkansas or Ole Miss if you can't. And then when you play Mississippi State, you still need to be able to slow down the run and get after the quarterback. That's obviously a very unique passing game. And as they transition to what is possibly a 9-game schedule at some point, Lord only knows what the SEC is going to do with that. That's just another game against a quality opponent. More need for interior defensive line. So LSU picked up a really good football player. I think Johnson's going to be a guy that ends up starting at LSU. Whether or not it's nose, whether or not it's three tech, or possibly even both, we'll wait and see. But I really like De'Myrion Johson because of his upside, and I think LSU's got a player that they were lucky to keep home. He's only about an hour away in New Iberia, so it's good for him to stay home, play for the Bengals. Hopefully he gets a chance to play pretty early. Please like this podcast. Make sure you hit the notification bell, share it, and please, above all else, please comment. I'm curious what you think about Johnson, what LSU's recruiting class looks like. They're doing a really good job within the state of Louisiana right now. And do you think they should go more out of state, more in state? There's all kinds of different things we can talk about. Be happy to answer any questions that you have. Everybody have a great day. Thank you very much.